very warm welcome. So as we welcome rains here in Delhi, we are all charged up with the same welcome, the same fresh breeze. Let's start the day 2 after the successful day 1 of the India Space Congress 2024. It's day 2, so with the same energy, same vibe, same enthusiasm, and praying to the Almighty, let's start day 2. On the behalf of SIA-India, we welcome you to the India Space Congress 2024. I hope the discussions yesterday stimulated your mind and sparkled new ideas, because today it promises to be more exciting. We delved yesterday deep into the satellite technology, explored the vast possibility of space exploration, examined the crucial policy frameworks that will guide our journey forward. These discussions have surely laid a strong foundation. Today, we will explore a variety of engaging topics, including geospatial insights, standardizations, and space sustainability. We will also celebrate the significant contribution of women in space. After our networking lunch, there is a special startup mixer program designed to connect the entrepreneurs, mentors, investors, and industry experts. So with a vision to provide a dynamic platform and fuel to the ambitions of the Indian space industry, let's get started with day 2. So can we have a big round of applause? Early morning, all Chargé. Alright, so I would like to start by inviting our chief guests and other dignitaries on the dais. I request Dr. Subba to kindly get our guests here on the dais. We have with us a special guest of honor, Dr. Olivier Fink, Chargé d'Affaires here in Embassy of Switzerland and India, and Bhutan with us. I would like to invite Mr. Dadang Hidayat, Minister Counsellor, Embassy of Republic of Indonesia to India. May call upon Lieutenant General Pannu, former Deputy Chief of Integrity Defence Staff on the dais. Indeed an honour to have you all here with us. May call upon Shri Prakash as well on the dais. We'll start with the felicitation ceremony. May request the President SIA to kindly felicitate our dignitaries with floral bouquet. Dr. Olivier Fink. Thank you for coming and gracing the occasion with your presence. Mr. Dadang Hidayat. Thank you so much, Dr. Fink, for coming and gracing the occasion. And Lieutenant General Pannu. It's always a pleasure to have you around and have you. I request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem as we proceed with the formal ceremony. Can we have the anthem, please?
Gujarat, Maratha, Dravid, Utkal,
We'll start with lighting the lamp. May I request all our dignitaries here on the dais to kindly proceed for the lamp lighting. As we begin the program by praying to the Almighty with all the gratitude and humbleness for the successful continuation of the event. So it's the ways of knowledge constantly active through the medium of flame of lamp to dispel all the darkness. Dr. Subba, the president of SIA-India, as we all know, is a technologist and an entrepreneur with extensive experience in ISRO for over 4 decades. He was one of those early pioneers of the private industry in high technology areas. He is the MD of Anil Technology Limited and, of course, the president of SIA-India. May I request Dr. Subba to kindly come and present the welcome address.
Namaskar. Good morning to all of you. Your distinguished guests on the dais and distinguished participants from various walks of life in the space sector. And we're entering into the second day of our seminar. And yesterday I've seen all of you who were present yesterday, see that there are very distinguished personalities addressing all of us. The chairman is our chairman in space, the chairman Troy, the ambassador is of Australia, and also witness the 2 emojis and agreement being signed between Indian companies, Indian activities, and the foreign labor and Indian activity. This is the object of the started the association, where we want to bring in the industry, the government, and various stakeholders into this. And we want to serve as a platform of business activity that we have been doing very successfully, and we witnessed very good progress yesterday on that. And the second day of the program is going to be to have very distinguished personalities from Indonesia. Then we have some from Switzerland, and also from our general government, who have been connecting with the website very efficiently, and we will be addressing today's program to all of us. And hopefully, even today's session going to be extremely good. And it's also started raining, so which means that the rain that is also blessing us now on that. Thank you, sir. Welcome again. Thank you.
We are honored to have Lieutenant General Dr. PGS Pannu with us, who is a former Deputy Chief Integrated Defence Staff. He was responsible for raising the Defence Space Agency, Defence Cyber Agency, and Armed Forces Special Forces Division. He has done PhD in indigenization of the defence industry. He is a senior advisor to SATCOM Industry Association India, and he has conducted 2 space-based industrial war games in the last 2 years. May I request Lieutenant General Pannu to kindly come and present his address as well.
Jai Hind, good morning, ladies and gentlemen and guests on the dais. Thank you, Dr. Rao, for honoring me. I literally felt like a guest, and then I was introduced as a senior advisor to the Satcom Industries Association. Now I'm feeling at home, that after all, I am the insider. So, speaking in this hall today, being month of June, I'm reminded of Captain Saurabh Kalia on 15th of May 1999, and today is 27th. The numerology of 9 is playing on my mind. 4 Jat sent out a patrol suspecting that the Pakistan army and some irregulars have occupied the heights of Kargil. Captain Saurabh Kalia led a patrol of 5 members, and he never came back. The patrol went, and on 9th of June, 22 days they were kept in the captivity of Pakistani army. Their body was mutilated. The eyes were actually taken out. Even the private parts mutilated. And then ultimately, after torture of 22 days, Captain Saurabh Kalia and his 5 brave men of 4 Jat were shot dead, and then sent back and brought our own people back. What was Captain Saurabh Kalia doing on Kargil Heights? Captain Saurabh Kalia had gone to find out what was unknown. And we had to physically send out a patrol to find out what is there when somebody, a grazier, after the Kargil Heights had opened out to the graziers, came and said that there's something unusual happening on the Kargil Heights. And this year we are celebrating 25 years of Kargil Vijay, the Victory Day. But then the victory did not come to us on the platter. It was a huge sacrifice by young officers, and this young officer was to complete his 23rd year. His birthday was 29th of June, 1976. And he died before his birthday. And 9th of June we received his body. The same regiment, 5 Jat, fought Galwan in 1962. And this year, on 15th of June, we spoke about 4 years of Galwan, which happened in 2020. We lost 20 men, including a commanding officer, at the hands of Chinese. There is something common between Captain Saurabh Kalia. There's something common between what happened in 1962 at Galwan and what happened in Galwan again in 2020, that none of our troops knew what was there behind the hill. I was reminded of my own patrol on the line of actual control near Tawang, that as a young officer, I was leading a patrol and somebody told me, "Ki Saab, you don't have to read the map because I have been here." Because in the evening, in the eastern sector, by about 4:30, and the snowfall made it completely dark, and we had to find our way to a place called Khangla. And we realized that we are running out of communication because the VHF sets could not communicate anywhere. And we continued to walk all night without understanding where we are going, and we were being led by a dog patrol. And at some point the dogs refused because they were not trained dogs of the Indian Army, they were the local dogs of the post. And when they refused to go, and we continued to walk, and only next morning we discovered we had actually crossed the line. And how we discovered it was that through our compass and map reading, and we realized that at night we could not see anything, we could not read the map, we could not communicate, and my patrol was out for 21 days and we ran out of batteries and we could not communicate, and my battalion thought we were lost. I wish the technology that we are talking about today was available to me, 5 Jet Battalion who fought in Galwan in 1962, 16 Bihar which fought Galwan in 2020, 4 years back, and Captain Saurav Kalia would not have had gone unprepared with only 5 men if the satellites and the imagery had told us that there is something more to it, send more strength or go better prepared to fight. Lo and behold, the whole world was watching the Kargil. Whole world was watching the Kargil. The Western world knew exactly what was happening. Indians didn't know what was happening. And to top the PNT services of the GPS, the American Global Positioning System was shut down and was not being provided to the Indian Army. We did not have the GIS. Our geospatial intelligence was missing because we could not correlate the ground to the map with the actual reality. And if we had something that we are going to be talking about today, we would have known that Burzil Pass of Pakistan had opened, or if it had not opened, what are the routes that the NLI and the Pakistan Army took with some irregulars to climb the heights of Kargil when they thought, or we thought in winters it was not possible, they climbed up. We did not have the information of terrain, we did not have information of weather, we did not have the PNT, we did not have the ISR, and ultimately when the war actually was fought, the Air Force was doing toss bombing into areas where we did not have the exact coordinates, and of course a helicopter and a couple of fighter aircrafts went inside Pakistan, and of course you know the story of Nachiketa. These are real stories, and these are episodes which are live operations which are being conducted with the Indian Army even today. During Kargil, I was in Rann of Kutch initially, and then we were rushed to Uri. And then we realized that we had no idea how to find out what was happening behind the sand dune, or we did not know how to find out behind the hill, because we did not have the EEP status clear to fire the radars, which would emit electronic signals, and then our position would get compromised. So electronic warfare had its own nuances. So as a result, as we stand here today, we realize that the technology is going to dictate how efficiently we fight and save our men from becoming a casualty and using blind brute force, getting into the enemy where we can be forewarned, we can be forearmed. Our navigation, our ISR, our connectivity, our deep strikes, our precision warfare would all come into place. And here we are talking about fighting China or fighting Pakistan, who are less experienced than us, because when we have been fighting proxy war, the trained terrorists who came from wherever, because some are talking about LET coming, Punjabis coming, Pathans coming, Kabilis came in 1947. But more and more in the 1990s, we found that SETCOM was being used by the terrorists first when they infiltrated, and they were communicating across, and they were being guided by people who were armed by satellite phones. And our troops were quite unaware of the kind of technology that the terrorists were moving in along, and that is how the militancy and the grid system slowly came up into being, and we were still using some of the most conventional equipment. As we understand today, our northern borders has more military than it ever had before. Never after 1962 war, we've had this kind of a casualty that we had in Galwan. On the day when the new government was taking oath just very recently. We had 3 places where the Indian Army, or there were attacks on tourists or soft targets. And then we realized that, oh, a couple of troops were lifted from here and sent to defend the northern borders, and there's a gap. Who is looking at these gaps? How is this information being taken, analyzed, and put to better use? So, largely when we speak about our technology and our warfare, today we are under more threat than we were ever before, and we would only know when it unfolds, and therefore it is extremely important that we sit here together and talk about that we need our own PNT, because the PNT that we were dependent on was not being made available to us, and then we went and got into our own NAVIC system. How it is coming up, how it will come up, where we are going to go with it, time will tell us. In 2007, the Israelis had forewarned that they are going to attack Iran because by 2009, if they do not take out the nuclear facilities of Iran, the Israelis are going to lose the battle ahead of time. So they said by 2009, we have to strike Iran before they build the nuclear capability. But they did not use kinetic energy to destroy the nuclear program. They destroyed the cyber attack, Stuxnet, to destroy the Iranian nuclear program. These cyber attacks are silent killers. These cyber attacks can be used at any place, from any direction, and it will be very difficult to find out where the cyber attack is happening. It could be happening to one of us in the room now. It could be happening to somebody in the next building, and they would not talk about it because they would know that there is somebody already sitting on the computer, already doing a reconnaissance, already sitting in your systems. And most of the systems today, which are interconnected and are networked, are prone to silent killing attacks by the cyber warriors all over the world. It is much cheaper to build a cyber capability than it is to build a space capability. So if you're building a space capability, a nation which has a cyber capability, which is much cheaper and affordable, can destroy your entire space program if you do not make sure that the kind of money that we've spent on a space has to be protected from cyber attacks. So therefore, in SIA, we decided to sign an MOU with ISAC to say, what are the vulnerabilities to our space program? All those sitting in this hall today and belong to the space sector, belong to the critical infrastructure community, where anybody who works on space could be the one who has something or the other on the computer or on their smartphones, and you could well be on a target list. You are part of the target list of those adversaries who may not be in the space sector, but you are in the space sector, so the cyber warrior would put you on a list of attack, and you could be attacked, or maybe somebody sitting and finding out what you are thinking, when you're going to do what, and then ultimately they will do whatever they have to do at the time and place of their choosing. It doesn't mean the system which is working good today is great, and it will remain great. It is only in the nick of the moment, services will be denied. So the services are going to be denied for which you invested for very long, because they were working very well and you thought that they will continue to work well, at the nick of the moment you will find that there is a denial of service. If there is a denial of service, why did you invest so much of money into it? And then you build the whole thing and you've been glorifying whatever you have achieved, and one attack, everything comes down crumbling. So therefore, it is important for us to create a cyber shield for the entire space ecosystem, not only the ecosystem which is indigenous or Indian, but also ecosystem of those who collaborate with us. And those who collaborate with us have to be brought into an ecosystem that if their system is weak, then we should not find that the vulnerabilities are now transferred onto them, or their vulnerabilities have been transferred onto us. So therefore, we have to graduate from A, becoming space having a cyber shield, and ultimately all our systems to have a cyber seal, and that is where we've got to go. The future of warfare is technology-based, everybody talks about it. But how are we going to manage that the kind of casualties that we have had after independence should be avoided? Almost touching 27,000 soldiers have died fighting Indian wars after 1947. And when I was building the National War Memorial, I was fortunate to be chairman. And at that time, there were 26,997 soldiers. Every soldier, every officer who laid down their life has a brick named after them. But my heart at that time was writhing inside when we were building the National War Memorial with bricks which had no names. And I was thinking, who are those soldiers? Us who are sitting here to talk about the technology of space and cyber, we are the ones who can prevent those empty bricks. We prepare something for a contested environment. We prepare something that the adversary should not overwhelm us by a better technology. So therefore, we are not fighting a battle within our own industry, within two business houses, but as a whole of nation, we are fighting a battle where all the industry comes together. As the warfare becomes standoff, there is a case for privatization of war. More you send the soldiers to the forward area, that becomes more military. So as the technology is stepping in, we are continuously looking at more and more possibility of silent web kill, and then standoff warfare where space warrior, the cyber warrior, the artificial intelligence, the robotics and all that will kick in, and more you get standoff, as I was saying, more privatization will happen, and more privatization happens, we have to look at more indigenization, because at the end of it, yesterday somebody said, Atmanirbharta will only happen if we have Atmavishwas, and Atmavishwas will only happen if we are competent to do it, if we have skill sets to do it, and we have investments in the right place. So therefore, the future lies with us, and those in this hall may not be wearing uniform, but you would be doing a great job, not only in collaboration with our allies and partners outside who have similar challenges, but make sure that at least India becomes self-reliant, more private, more war prepared, and make sure that Captain Saurav Kalia, 22 years, could not complete 23 years, no more happens. And I'm very happy to see some of 22, 23-year-old here. Yesterday, Shri was from Shri, where are you? 23-year-old. Same age of Saurav Kalia. But she says, I have a solution for killing a hypersonic missile. At 23-year-old, she says, we can make a space plane. She said, we can make a reusable launcher. I can bring down the cost of launch. 23-year-old is talking about it. So they are all warriors. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Look forward to a discussion. Tomorrow we are going to have a track on the military. We are going to be talking about the launcher demand. We are going to be talking about the cybersecurity and cyber shield today. We are going to be talking about the triad of PNT, ISR, and communications tomorrow. And we are also going to be having a special discussion where the MOD and the military will come together. And yesterday I was saying that let's drop the word defense and replace it with strategic. So we're going to have the strategic debate on space tomorrow. And I hope wherever you are, let's sit together and do all. And one of these days you will find we celebrating the 25 years of Kargil Vijay Divas, but we should know at what cost. And I think the cost of not only launch should come down, but the cost of human loss should also come down. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir, for such inspiring words. Indeed, we all have a warrior inside us. We just have to pave the right way. So moving ahead, may I call upon Mr. Dadang Hidayat, he is Mr. Counsellor, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to India, to kindly come here and present his address. He's not there with us. So, he will take it. So, So we move ahead to our special guest of honor. With all smiles, may I call upon Dr. Olivier Fink. He earned a PhD in Arts, Japanese Civilization and Literature from the University of Geneva, Switzerland, before beginning his career in the Swiss Foreign Service in 2007. After posting in Bern, Tehran, Washington, D.C., he was the Deputy Head of Protocol at Headquarters since 2021. Dr. Fink is with us. He's the Deputy Head of Mission at Embassy of Switzerland to India and Bhutan in New Delhi with the rank of Minister. May I have him here to extend his views.
Mr. President of SATCOM Industry Association, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, it's a pleasure to be with you today for this second day of the Space Congress 2024. Switzerland has no ocean. Its horizon is limited by mountains. These geographical specificities encourage the Swiss to look upwards. Naturally, we admire the peaks of our Alps. Perhaps it is in the upward movement of our gaze, naturally drawn towards the heavens, that Switzerland has become a space nation. When I was serving in Washington, D.C., one of President Trump's aides told me once that when he was hearing Swiss Confederation, he was not thinking of a country, but rather of a fictional galactic community. May the force be with us. Actually, he was not entirely wrong. As a powerhouse of innovation, Switzerland has naturally turned its attention to space conquest. It is true that we have never sent men to the moon, but our technology has been there. Did you know that the first flag on the moon was Swiss? It was an aluminium foil sheet deployed even before the US flag, aimed to measure and sample the solar wind outside the Earth's magnetosphere. Carried aboard Apollo 11 in July 1969, the tool was conceived and built by the University of Bern, which also took care of the results. It was the only non-American experiment to be part of the Apollo landings. Back to the future. In 1975, Switzerland was a founding member of the European Space Agency, a real springboard for international cooperation, space exploration, research, and tomorrow's innovation. Today, the Swiss space ecosystem consists of around 250 players spread across the country: startups, small and middle enterprises, large companies, and universities. With a turnover of 370 million Swiss francs and representing about 2,000 jobs, the space industry contributes to many high-tech positions in the Swiss economy. 16 Swiss universities and research institutions are involved in space science. Several of them develop complex tools. There are roughly 70 industrial partners across Switzerland which produce scientific instruments, atomic clocks, payload fairings, optical communication, high-precision mechanism, and spacecraft structures. In space, Swiss technology is omnipresent. On Mars with the Europeans, the Americans, or the Chinese. On the moon with the Russians. On satellites orbiting Jupiter. On comets or peering into the infinite. A recent report by the Swiss Academy of Natural Sciences sums all this up. It highlights some 60 instruments deployed on 50 different space missions. One of the key topics for Swiss innovation in space is sustainability, such as use of green hydrogen for space missions, debris avoidance and clearance. we also try to take advantage of space technology to solve some of the Earth's problems. Solutions for cooling, precision positioning, agricultural management tools, space data to enhance mobility. Taking into account the rapid developments and increasing importance of outer space, the Swiss Federal Council published a space policy in April 2023 with 3 priorities. Access and resiliency, using Swiss membership in international bodies to push national interests and promote sustainability. Competitiveness and relevance, boosting the already strong standing of the Swiss space research and innovation sector. Partnership and reliability, strengthening the rules-based multilateral governance of space. Switzerland and India do not enjoy any formal cooperation in the space sector yet. However, the two countries do have a history of working together. Several Swiss satellites have been launched into space by the Indian Space Research Organization, the Swiss Cube from the Federal Institute of Technology in Lausanne, the TISAT-1 from the University of Applied Science and Arts of Southern Switzerland, the DIDO-2 from the company Space Pharma, and Astrocast-2. The University of Bern contributed to the development of the SARA payload of the ESA on board India's moon mission, Chandrayaan. The Swiss aerospace industry has been a regular supplier to the Indian Space Research Organization. Our exports of high-precision goods to India's space program have been increasing steadily. India has made giant steps in establishing itself as a research and innovation powerhouse, notably in the space sector. It is one of the only 7 countries to have attempted a mission to Mars, and the only one to succeed at the first attempt. It was the first country to land a spacecraft near the unexplored south pole of the moon, and it successfully inserted Aditya L1, its first space-based observatory mission to study the sun. During his working visit to Delhi, the Swiss Minister of Foreign Affairs, my boss, Federal Counsellor Ignacio Cassis, presented his counterpart, the Honorable Dr. Jai Shankar, with a very special gift. A Swatch Omega bioceramic moon swatch named Mission to the Sun. A timely tribute to India's space accomplishment. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1948, Prime Minister Nehru chose the Swiss Confederation as the first friend of independent India by a bilateral treaty. 75 years later, by TEPA, Prime Minister Modi chose Switzerland as one of the first European countries to be a trade and economic privileged partner. Today, Switzerland is very happy to be associated with the Indian Space Congress. The liberalization of the space sector heralds exciting times ahead. Our delegation includes representatives from startup companies, an incubation center, a research and development center, as well as an early stage venture capital fund. The Swiss Business Hub India, based in Mumbai, and our scientific consulate SwissNex in Bangalore are also present. Please join our Swiss session in the Regal Hall at 10:30. In the bold spirit of interstellar pioneering, let's explore a galaxy of possibilities. As you well know, in space, sky is the limit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fink. It's time for the exchange of the MOUs. It's between Indonesian government and Energy Systems to collaborate in the field of positioning, navigation and time synchronization, leveraging the ELINA-GEO, India proficiency in naval sea-based application and Pacific satellite Nusantara. Indonesia's capabilities in domain of satellite and communication. May I please request our dignitaries here, the exchange of mind between Indonesian government and Illegal Geosystems. Thank you very much. It's time for the release of the joint paper. The release of the joint paper of SIA-India and Information Sharing and Analysis Center ISAC on space cybersecurity. May request the dignitaries to kindly do the honors. Also, the release of joint paper of SIA-India and PwC titled Earth Observation, Drivers for India's Development. May request the dignitaries to kindly do the honors. Also, I'd like to call upon Captain Vishal Kaur, MD, PwC, to share his views.
I take this opportunity to just speak about this paper briefly. Earth observation in India today has a space economy of about $521 billion. We see this growing to about $8 billion in the next 10 years. And the biggest challenge we have is how do you look at demand generation in this area. This paper brings about, and it's a good read, to see how 12 out of the 17 sustainable development goals are impacted by Earth observation, how Earth observation impacts sectors like agriculture, forestry, disaster management, insurance, finance, consumer solutions, etc. So we really encourage you to look at this paper, and we are confident that Earth observation can help increase productivity and quality of life and build in resilience in the country across the 1.5 billion population of the country. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I think dignitaries of dais, our dear friends, citizen people. It is very lovely to see that in spite of little turbulence outside, the house is full. And thank you very much for being with us. And you have seen the starting of the second day, which is done by two very distinguished personalities. We are very thankful to Dadang, the Counsellor for Prakash in Indonesia. Thank you very much for your kind presence. And also, request thank you to Dr. Olivier, Chargé, This is India. Thank you very much, sir. And we also welcome a delegation from Switzerland and all the delegate members. Welcome you all here in India. And so we have a very exciting day. Today we have one more back-to-back session. Know that we were running one session to other session, but that's the way it is. And I think we want to cover most of the topics related to space sector in three days. So it is only be possible that we have a concrete session. Sorry for that. We were not able to do that, but all this will be made available to you on our website after the conference. You can see live all the sessions which are being recorded. You have located all the paper presentations, all the position paper reports, are also be put on our website. You can have access. Thank you very much, and for you, and looking forward to and further elevation for it.
Thank you, Mr. Prakash. So with this, we come to the end of the inaugural session, and we'll stop for a very small tea break, a high tea break, and we'll resume here again after 30 minutes for the start of the first session of the day 2. And this is a hall 1. And also, it's time to felicitate our honorable dignitaries here at the dais with the mementos. It's time to give the mementos. May I request Dr. Subba to kindly give the memento to our guest of honor, Olivier Fink. Thank you, Dr. Fink, once again. Mr. Dadang, Hidayat. And also to Representative Pannu. So where we are having this inaugural session, this is a hall 1, the track 1 session to be conducted here. And once the partition is laid out, the one right behind will be the hall 2 for the session, for the track 2. Hall 3 is one level down, where we have the track 3 session. And on the same line, track 4 is one level up, next to the reading room, and where we have the track 4. So we'll resume here right at 10:30 for the